Hi everyone. Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be giving a review and kind of what it's like of the Samyang 35 f1.4 UMC-AS super duper manual only digital SLR full frame lens. Okay, there you go. If any of you are unfamiliar with Samyang, they also come under different names of Rokinon and Bauer, which is pretty cool. But generally the name is Samyang. If you want to see where you can get this in the UK, I'll put the links down below in the description because there's samyang.co.uk. It's a Korean company, South Korean, not North Korean. And it's making a lot of manual only lenses which generally people are kind of going badass and good price. So let's go on about first of all 35mm lens, and it's that size. It is a huge lens. If I can compare this to another lens. Okay, here's the Nikon old school manual only lens as well. 20mm f2.8. There you go there. And then the Samyang is like that. Okay, I've got the lens hood on, so I'll take the lens hood off. But you know, generally that's the size difference. 35 f1.4, f2.8 for the Nikon. So probably some of you are thinking, why the heck would I want a manual focus only lens in today's modern society? Most of you probably don't. But those of you who want fantastic optical quality, an f1.4 which is not going to destroy your bank account, and if you want something with the smoothest, most yummy focus moving bits, so well good, then you can't go any better than this. So even though it's a full frame lens, it will fit on both your crop framed and your full frames. And you have to get different mounts if it's a Canon or a Nikon. However, if you get the Nikon one, it has electrical mounts where it can pass on all the EXIF data and all exposure stuff into the camera. So you can change the aperture and everything in camera without having to touch the lens. If you're getting it with the Canon, it doesn't really have any connection, so you have to manually change the aperture like that. Ooh, it feels good. This moves around in half stops, so it's marked 1.4, f2, f2.8, which are whole stops, but it clicks twice until it gets to the next stop. So it's half stops clicks in apertures, but again, if you're doing it in your cameras, certainly the Nikon cameras, you can do it up to third stops as well. The front of it is a pretty big, but this is 77mm filter here if you're wanting to get any filters for it. However, do you need it? Probably not. 35mm, no, 35mm is considered a wide angle on a full frame. However, on a DX cropped frame sensor, then it's actually considered like a standard lens. It's about 50mm kind of thing. Yeah, you can get filters for it. Well, the one reason I would say get a filter for it, is because this has barely no flaring going on with the sun. I've done a couple of shots with this where I'm trying to get, like, I love flare. I love it, you know, when you get that light kind of hitting the front of the lens and just causing all that kind of flare. I love that kind of stuff. I think it looks really, really sexy, lovely. This stuff, optically, is so good that it doesn't cause any of that. It doesn't have any internal reflections going on. I'm effectively having to if I point this straight up to the sun, I can see maybe a halo at the very corners of it on a full frame camera, but you wouldn't see on a DX camera. So if you want to get flare, sexy flare for videos and stuff, get a couple extra filters to go in front, maybe a neutral density filter or something for reflections to go on. So if you don't like flare, then this rocks, you know, because this doesn't cause any. Optical quality at f1.4 is not as good as what it is at f2, but that's the same with any lens. However, what it is at f1.4 is surprisingly good. It wasn't like, oh my god, it's just mush and turd. It's like, oh my god, why did I get an f1.4? You can use this at f1.4. However, you have to be amazingly accurate with your focusing, because again, this is manual focus. You have to have good eyes as well. So if you're looking through the eyepiece of your camera, you need to make sure that your eyesight is good enough. if you get it with the Nikon, you do have an autofocus, or not an autofocus, but a focus confirmation dot inside your eyepiece. So look for that. If you don't know what that is, read your manual. And whenever you get down to f2 or f2.8, the sharpness is phenomenal. It's really good. I wouldn't ever walk away going, it's not sharp enough. It's fantastic. I was shooting this, I even took this off the Nikon and put it onto my Canon 5D Mark II, which is what, a 21 megapixel image? The sharpness coming out of this was better. It was just so good, so good. You cannot beat it. So price-wise as well, this in comparison to the Nikon or Canon equivalent, the Canon equivalent is around about 1,200. The Nikon is about 1,400. That's £1,000 more expensive than this. So if you're a budding videographer and you want some sexy smooth lenses where you have full manual control over everything, then this, you cannot get something which is better priced than this. Unless you go down the second-hand route and it's something which is totally battered, but then you can't get something which is better priced and as good as this. That's what I'm trying to say here. Weight-wise, it feels like a chunky lens. Certainly, in comparison to this little thing, this one, I think it's about 650 grams is what they've said it is. And it's about 10 centimeters long. So it's a big chunky lens. So when you have it on your camera, you really feel it there. Closest focusing distance is 30 centimeters. It says it's 30 centimeters, but that's 30 centimeters, remember, from the back of your camera. So whenever you've got an extra 10 of this, you're really only about 20 centimeters away from the closest thing you can get. And you are very, very close with it. I'll just show you the actual size of the aperture. You can see in there. It's not exactly a round blade, it's a funky kind of angular blade, but see when you're at f1.4, the bokeh that you get from it is so smooth. Obviously because it's f1.4, it's massive, but it's surprisingly good. They're not rounded, they don't seem like rounded blades that you get in some Nikon lenses, so if you want rounded stuff, get a Nikon and pay an extra £1,000 for it. But with this, it's very, very, very good. I've got the Novaflex adapter on it, so I can put it onto my Canon lenses as well. But you don't need that normally. You can just use a very, very cheap £10, something which you can get for about £10, little adapter, which looks like that. Again, I'll put links down below if you want to get this, so you can attach it from Nikon onto Canon, no problem. Somebody mentioned that they thought the build quality wasn't very good of these. Now, I don't know what kind of build quality they're talking about, because for me, I can't fault it. Somebody said, oh, is it weatherproofed or all that kind of stuff? I don't really know if it's weatherproof. I highly doubt it is. Well, nothing expands, or whenever you focus or anything, nothing moves in and out. So, okay, you're not really going to get dust flying in. But weatherproofed, that's a whole different thing. That's where you want like rubber gaskets and all that kind of stuff going on. But this doesn't have any of those. But the actual build quality itself, I'm not 100% sure what it's made of, but I don't. No, it's not metal, but it is very good plastic, is what it is. I would call that very. Mind you, that feels like metal. It's really like you wouldn't ever complain about the build. I certainly wouldn't ever complain about the build quality of this. I think it is very good. There's nothing rattling around, there's nothing moving, there's nothing shaking. It's well designed, it's well proportioned, it's got a huge bit for you to work on the focus. And this is the thing, this is what all of you that are into your manual focus stuff, it's all about this. If you're doing any videoing, you want this to be smooth and brilliantly weighted, and this is so smooth and so silent. It's not like you're hearing gears moving around like you hear in other kind of like crappy Nikon or Canon lenses, but it's just so smooth, so smooth. And that's what you really want if you're doing video stuff with this. So, conclusion. This lens is very good. I use this in a music video as well, and I pretty much use this lens for all of the music video. You can get super close, you can have a super wide aperture, you can have very shallow depth of field, you can have a beautiful bokeh in the background, Price-wise, it can't be beaten. You can't get an f1.4 35mm full frame lens for anything even double the price. Everything's 1,000. Like, I think you can get this for 400 or less. I've seen anywhere from about 340 up to 380. I haven't seen actually one saying 400, but in general, under £400 for this. Oh, it's difficult. Okay, the next question is, would I buy it? Hell yes, I would. If I was doing more music videos, if I was doing music videos every week, this is number one on my lens. If I'm doing like my main job is property video, and I use super wide angle. I need what I'm using just now, which is my 16 to 35mm lens. I barely ever use it at 35, and I barely would use this for any kind of property stuff. But if I was doing music videos, this would be on the camera all the time, without doubt, no question. If you're doing other types of videos or whatnot with your digital cameras, I can't recommend this one enough. But is there any downsides? Was there any downsides? No. Was there any downsides? I'm trying to think throughout the whole time that I've had this for the last month, and I'm trying to think, was there any downsides? Really, okay, if you love flare and you love that, you know, light hitting the sides of it, then this sucks. Oh, it's rubbish. It's so optically good it doesn't give flare. So stick extra filters on the front, all that kind of stuff, and then you can get some nice beautiful flare going on. If you're only shooting at f1.4 and you need the sharpest image you've ever had, then this won't give you that. Nothing will. I can't really give it a downside in any way. If you can't see through your viewfinder and you can't see that little button that says, yeah, you're in focus, then yeah, this one. If you don't have perfect eyes, then yeah, this probably isn't the one for you. If you don't like manual focus, oh, don't get this. But if you are a videographer, if you love manual focus, if you don't have £1,400 to spend on a manual only lens, or you know, one with autofocus, oh, this can't be beaten. This kicks ass so much. It really does. And I'm a big fan of saving money. And the benefit that you get with the autofocus in a £1,400 lens, is it £1,000 better than what you'd be doing with this? I don't think it would be. So develop your manual focusing skills, save yourself £1,000 minimum, and if you do video, get it. It's so good. Like, you know, I'm not being biased in any way. I'm not getting to keep these. I'm not being paid by Samyang in any way. I just respect, given where respect is due. They've kicked ass so much with this. I love it. Yeah, for under £400, absolutely the dogs. Big bits. So good. Get it. I'll put the links down below if you want to find out where you can buy it in the UK or what websites you can get it from. There you go. So that's the 35 f1.4 from Samyang UMC Nikon mount. Get the Nikon mount because you can always put it on the Canon. If you buy the Canon, you can't put it on any Nikons. There you go. A little tip. Bye bye.